This is the Cherrier Vivace, a modern French hatchback added to BeamNG in 2019, and it is perfect for living at full speed. At least that's what Cherrier says. Starting off with the interior, it is very modern, and the steering wheel isn't even circular. I guess that's because we live in the future now. The gauges are futuristic too, with them just being a screen, and in the center you have a whole iPad acting as your infotainment system and your map. As for the seats, they are quite questionable and exotic for my taste. I think it's because they're French, so they needed something fashion forward, something like that I guess. The back seats have very lacking legroom though, so I guess it wouldn't be the best car to bring passengers, although I guess the kids would fit. The trunk is pretty large, being big enough for furniture or even engine transport. And under the hood, you have options ranging from a 1.2 liter i3 to a 2 liter i4 diesel to the 2.5 liter Raleigh engine, and even electric options. You'll be able to get exactly what you want under the hood, at least if you got the cash for it. In terms of real cars, the closest I could find to the Vivace would be the Peugeot 308, which comes in gasoline, electric, and diesel options just like the ones in the game. As for what the word vivace means, in French it means perennial or vivacious. As for Easter eggs on the car, the Raleigh livery has the name BeamNG, which is a pun on the pretty famous French bread, and M Mouton, which is a reference to the legendary French rally driver Michel Mouton, who raced the Audi Quattro in the Group B rallies during the 80s and broke the Pikes Peak record. Nowadays, she's working on improving safety in racing and has even been knighted into the French Legion of Honor. Even legend Formula 1 drivers such as Sterling Moss, Niki Lauda, and Ayrton Senna have given her high praise, and she's a person I look up to very much. In terms of racing success, she has 4 World Rally Championship wins and 9 podiums. And even on asphalt, she's an incredible driver with a Le Mans class win where she was actually the fastest driver on the entire track in just the 2 liter class, competing against the big boys at Ferrari and Ford. Back to the Vivace, it's actually one of the speedrunners' favorite cars, as it's perfect for rally with its incredible handling on dirt and still making very decent horsepower. In the tune I use, it makes about 780 horsepower, which is way more than the tires can handle on dirt, but hey, overkill is underrated. And the car's able to get up to 360 kilometers or 223 miles an hour, while still being the best handling car on dirt, so why wouldn't you run it? Alright, so how does the Vivace drive when you're behind the wheel? For this review, I'm going to look at the Vivace S410Q Arsenic, priced at $74,400 Beam bucks, or the price of 2 Sunburst 4S all-wheel drives, and a D-Series demo derby truck. For that price, you get 403 brake horsepower and a car weighing 1630 kilograms, so a little on the chunky side. With the all-wheel drive system, it's able to do 0 to 60 miles an hour in 4 seconds. According to Cherrier, the top speed is 270 kilometers per hour, which is where they've electronically limited this car to, but by ripping out some wires, a mechanical failure, we were able to get it up to 298 kilometers or 185 miles per hour. In terms of handling, this hot hatch is quite possibly the best handling car I've ever reviewed. It's got enough power to get you into trouble, but that high-tech all-wheel drive system is powerful enough to get you out of trouble. This car thrives on the edge of grip, and when you think it's had enough, just pull the handbrake, send it into the slide, and it'll have just a little bit more to give. Since this car is front-wheel drive biased, and my low opinion on front-wheel drive biased cars, even all-wheel drive cars, it's actually capable of holding some nice drifts, and there isn't really too much understeer when driving normally at high speed. In terms of how to drive the car the fastest, it's mainly about throwing it into the corners and getting the quickest exit possible. While most of the time gripping the pavement is the fastest way through, sometimes getting a little slide with the back end out works well too. The Vivace is extremely forgiving, and if you are on a slide, you can just full throttle and use that front wheel drive bias to get it back on track. Meaning pretty much anyone can drive this car quickly and is perfect for beginners or people with big mouths. So I think Arsenic really isn't the right name for this car. Maybe they should have called it something like Pillows, or Safety Net, or maybe Parachute, maybe even Basket Full of Puppies, as unless you're driving like a maniac, it's pretty much impossible to crash this car. So let's give it to something that does drive like a maniac. Some say that it's scared of small trees, and it was once spotted at a cat cafe, intimidating the cats to giving it snacks. All we know is that it's called the Misty. Starting off, we're going to accelerate with that 4.0 seconds 0 to 60, heading into the first straight, into the braking zone and braking at that 200-yard marker, into the first hairpin and grabbing onto the inside of those curbs. Heading into the washing machine section, let's see how it can do. A little bit of oversteer there, but it's handling it. And a whole lot of oversteer. I don't think the Misty has realized that this is not actually a rally car. Heading into the sneaky snake, it's on the dirt a little bit, and let's see how it handles the tougher corner. A very big drift through that corner, pretty dang impressive, but is it fast? We'll see. Heading into the 190 now, let's see how it can hold on to it. Almost runs over our camera, and keeping it without any tire smoke through that 190. A bit under the dirt and heading down over to the corkscrew. Very high speed through there and very clean through that corkscrew. I guess that the Misty realized that this is actually not the rally car. Never mind, it went on the dirt again. Over the chicane, a little sideways, a lot of tire smoke. Yeah, it definitely doesn't realize that this is not the rally car version. And across the line. Of course the Misty's gonna do something exuberant at the end, but let's take up the time board. Now that was a pretty rapid lap, and I think it'll go up pretty high. Definitely see a couple of voids that could be filled. So let's put it up there. Let me know where you think I'll go in the comments first. The Cherrier Vivace FCV S410Q Arsenic did the lap in 1 minute 22.9, putting it third place and just barely beating the bolide by 1/10 of a second, although it is a whole 3.6 seconds behind that SBR4, which is worth just 20,000 BeamNG more, although the Vivace is much more useful in daily life, actually having a trunk and all. So what do I think about the Vivace Arsenic? Well, that 400 horsepower is plenty enough for fun, and the handling makes it really easy to drive, although it is still on the heavy side at 1630 kilograms. So while it does handle well, it could be so much better if it were to go on a diet and lose 225 kilograms, putting it around the same weight as the I-Series TTIX Evo or Sunburst, both of which have all-wheel drive systems, so that isn't exactly a good excuse for the extra weight. In terms of practicality, this thing is by far the most practical fast car in the game, with enough room to fit everything you need. But that's about where the good things end. The price is super high. In campaign mode, you can find the Sunburst Sport RS for about $18,000, while the Arsenic is still north of 65,000 BeamNG. So, in my opinion, this is one of the best cars in the game. Unfortunately, that price point is way too steep, and I'd go for something slightly worse, but a whole lot cheaper. And it appears that the Spanish have arrived with a cannon ship and shot the Vivace, so I guess nobody can buy this one now. On that bombshell, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you want to see more videos like this one, click the playlist on your screen now. Otherwise, you can click the other video if that one seems more interesting. See y'all next week.